Hi everyone and welcome back to CodeNodes. In our last video, we have written our first C++ program. In this video, we are going to discuss one of the fundamental topics of C++ and that is variables and data types. So what is a variable? A variable in C++ is a name that represents a memory location where a value can be stored. A variable means that is not constant and keep changing. So in C++, this is the general syntax of declaring a variable with a value. So you write the data type first, then the variable name, and at the right side of this assignment operator, you initialize it with a value. In programming, assignment operator is not same as the equal to sign we use in mathematics. So in C++, how we write it? Integer is the data type, number is the variable name, and 25 is the value we initialized. As in the books, as you can see as per the definition, this is the block of memory where 25 value is stored, and suppose this number variable is pointing to it. And later in our program, we can change this 25 value to some another values. So this can be very value to value. So if we store any another value into any next variable, it will be stored in the next block of that memory, and that variable name will be pointing to that particular location of the memory. So let's understand the rule of naming a variable. Number one, you can use uppercase and lowercase alphabets while naming a variable. As you can see in the black, var and capital VAR, both these are correct variable names. But there is another point you should keep in mind, that C++ is case sensitive. So these both var with small v and capital V, both these are taken as different variable names. The second is you can use numbers in a variable names. As you can see in the black example, var12 and v1ar. So both of these are correct because you have used the numbers at the end or the middle of the variable name. But you cannot use the integers or the constants at the beginning of the variable name. As you can see in the red, one var, it is considered as an incorrect variable name. Number third is that you can use underscores in variable names. As you can see in the example in black, underscore var and my underscore var. So both of these will be considered as a correct variable names. And the fourth is that you cannot use special characters in variable names. For example, as you can see in the red, var hash, and you in the last var is enclosed in brackets. So both of these will be considered as incorrect variable names, as you cannot use special characters except this underscore in naming a variable in C++. Number 5 is that keywords. The keywords that are specified in C++ like main, int, double, if, else, these are the reserved keywords of C++, so you cannot use them as a variable name. And finally, you cannot leave any white space between a variable name. Like in this example in red, you can see a white space has been left between v and ar. So this will be considered as incorrect variable name. Now we know what are variables and the rules for naming a variable. Now let's see what are data types. In C++, data types specify the type of data a variable can hold, like integer, characters, decimal point numbers. An example of the integer data type we have seen in our previous slide. In this slide, we have listed down some of the basic data types of C++ with examples and the size of bytes they take in the memory. So for now, skip this size of bytes. We will explore it in our coming videos. Here, as you can see, integer data type stores only whole numbers. In this example, as you can see, a value of 10 is stored in my num variable, which is of data type integer. Float data type and double data type both stores decimal point numbers. The only difference is that double can store larger values than the float. And the second difference is that the size of bytes they take in the memory. As you can see, double takes 8 bytes of memory and float and integer takes 4 bytes of memory. And character data type stores any single character which can be number, which can be special character or any English alphabets. But that must be stored inside this single quotation. As you can see, my letter variable is storing a character A, which is of data type character, and it takes 1 byte of the memory. The Boolean data type has only two options. It can either be true or false. In C++, at the backend, it take it as 1 if it is true and 0 if it is false. So for Boolean, you can use either true or false or 1 or 0. Now let's start to code and understand what we have learned so far. Now let's start with the basic flow of C++. Include IOStream using name space std, int main. Now let's test each of the examples. Let's start with the variables. Let me declare here a variable name called my age. Now before starting to test this, there is another thing called declaration of a variable and initialization of a variable with a value. You can declare a variable and initialize a variable in the same line, or you can declare a variable here and later you can initialize the value. For example, I am here just declaring this variable, and in the next line I am going to assign or initialize it with the value of 10. This is also correct. Or if you just give a value for it a 10, initialize it in the same line, both of these are correct. So let me just comment it. So what does this command do in C++? If you put this forward slash colons at the starting of this line, while compiling, the compiler ignore these lines. Now let's test the variable names. The 6 rules we have discussed in our slide. Let me declare some correct variable names here. So var succeeded by colon and capital VAR. So both these are correct. The second rule was to use the numbers. So we can use numbers at the end of variable name, at the var1 by it could be anything, but you can use the integer at the mid of the variable name. Both these are correct. Let me compile it and see. Now as you can see, it has been compiled with 0 errors and warnings. The third one is that you can use underscore in a variable name. Let me take 3 examples, starting with the underscore, ending with the underscore, and underscore var1 in the mid of the variable name. Now let's compile it and see it. Now as you can see, it is compiled with 0 errors. So these are the types of variable names which are correctly declared. Now let's see some of the incorrect variable names. Let me comment it first. Now let's see some of the incorrect variable names. What were the rules for incorrect variable names? That it cannot be start with integer, or you cannot use any special character. So let me define the variable with 1 var. So what if I run it? It should throw an error. As you can see, invalid suffix var on integer constant. So this is the suffix of a constant which is 1. So it is incorrect. So you cannot use integer value at the beginning of a variable name. Secondly, you cannot use any special character in a variable name. For example, I'm going to use this hash var. So let me just remove this first for a better understanding. If I run it, as you can see, it has thrown error that stray hash in program. So it is not permitted in variable name. So let me just comment it and rewrite it from the new line. For your understanding, let me write here incorrect names. This is incorrect. int starting with the variable name, starting with the constant is incorrect. And the third one is, what if I declare a variable name and leave space in between the variable name, my space age. So this is also incorrect. As we compile it, it has thrown an error here. So if I just remove it and compile it, now it has not thrown any error over here. So you should keep in this mind. The next one is that we have discussed that C++ is case sensitive, so it will consider uh, this var and this var both as separate variables. So for that, to understand this, let me initialize both of these with a value, and let's console it and see is it true or not. For example, let me initialize the small var with the value of 10, and this capital var, we are not going to initialize it for now. And let me console it on screen. Cout, the value is n var. Now if I compile it and run it, as you can see, the value is 10. It has printed. What if I use this var and I compile and run it? As you can see, it has stored any default value in this variable var, which is in this case it has stored 1. What if I initialize this var with 12 or 11 and save it, compile and run it? It is taking time. Now as you can see, it has printed 11 over here. No, I have missed one of the rules, that you cannot use any reserved keywords of C++ as a variable name. What if I, let me just move, let comment these two, and for example, I use any special or reserved keywords as a variable name. Let me take this double, which is a C++ reserved keyword. So you cannot use it as a variable name. So if I run it, it will certainly throw an error here. As you can see, it has taken an expected unqualified ID before a token. So it is expecting a variable name before this assignment operator, which is not given, as double is C++ reserved keyword. Now, as we have understand the variables and rules for the naming of variable, now let's understand the data types and what kind of the value a data type can store. So let's start with the integer. As we have discussed in our slide, that integer data type only store whole numbers. So let me use here that int my age is equal to 10, and if you just want to compile it first and run, then you should compile with this and run over here. But if you want to compile and run both at the same time, you just click this icon here and it will show you the output. So as you can see, it has not printed anything, and it has shown that int my age is 10. What if I store it here any other value? Let me store it as special value over here, and if I compile it, it has thrown an or error over here. What if I store a character over here? A was not declared in this scope because A is a character and it is not a whole number, so it will throw an error over here. The second is, let me give you an example of a float or a double. So since both are same, and since double takes a larger value than a float, so let me just take an example of a double. Double temperature of today. Temperature is equal to 34.8, and if I compile it, As you can see, it has not thrown any error. Now there is a difference you need to understand it, that if I store this variable, this value, the decimal point value in this integer, what will happen? Let console it out and see. See out the value stored as integer is my age endl, and let me copy this and put it below this and print this out too. And in this case we are going to put temperature over here. Now as you can see, let me compile this and run it. Now it is taking our time. Now as you can see, the integer value only output 34 and the double have output 34.8. So the thing is that integer data type can only store whole numbers with 0 precision, and double is storing up to many precisions. So this is the difference you should keep in mind. The next thing is that while printing this line, I have written a long line. So while printing, if you put anything inside this double quotation, this will be printed exact whatever it is in the side double quotation in the console screen. And this ENDL is one of the objects from the OStream class, which we are using to the end to end the line over here, and whatever we write the next will be printed in the next line. Now let's see one of the example of character and boolean too. Let me declare a variable name as a character uh, grade is equal to a. Now console it. Let's print it on screen and see. For that, let me just copy this and the character stored is, we will just give the variable name here. Great. Let me save it. Let me comment this, or we do not need to comment this. Let's run it. Now as you can see, it has stored a in here. What if I store 1a over here and compile and run it? It has compiled with 0 errors. And in the output screen, as you can see, it has printed 1. But there is a difference between this 34 and this one, is that it is 1 but it is considered as a character. This 34 will be considered as integer whole number. So this was the grade of a data type character we have seen. Now there is a one data type we are left with, is that boolean. Bool is taha happy. For now, let's put it as a true and now console it. Now when we print it, and let's see what does it print on the screen. So now in C++, this true will be considered as 1, and if we put false over here, it will be considered as 0. So in the output screen, it will print 1. As you can see, it has printed as 1. For our clearance, let me put here some text, is taha happy. So if we compile and run it, now as you can see, it has printed 1 over here. It means taha is happy. What if I put false over here and compile and run it? Now in the screen, as you can see, it has printed 0, which means it is printing false. No, that's it for our video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and do not forget to share and subscribe the video.